Welcome back to our program. I want to ask you about that letter and about what you think of the current Gaza, war. But first, I want to ask you about Syria. I think a lot of people sort of suddenly turned up and say, "Oh my God, another country that Israel is bombing." Israel says it wants to protect the minority Druze population. What do you think about that? What do you think about opening yet another front here?
Well, the way I see it, and in a way I believe that this is the way that most Israelis understand our, interference in, or military interference in Syria, it is, we are defending some of the Druze communities that have been attacked. And many of them, probably, dozens, hundreds, were killed by, presumably, I believe that, units that were sent by the Syrian president. So you have to understand that we have a big minority of Druze citizens in Israel. We owe them. They feel that their brothers are assassinated in Syria, and we find ourselves in a very, very sensitive situation. Now, it is a problem. Mm-hmm. The way I see it personally, I hate the idea that the only way that we understand the reality and the only way that we act is by the use of military power. I feel that we entered only because this is the only languages we speak, without understanding how complicated is the situation. Mm-hmm. I have to remind myself and probably to the audience, Druze, they have minorities in Lebanon, in Syria, in Israel, and in many other places. And usually they feel that they are loyal to the state, to the country in which they live. This is the case in Israel. This is the case in Lebanon. And in a way, this was the case in Syria. The Druze were part of the Assad regime. They were defended by the Alawites minority, and they participated in the wars or in the civil war. Mm-hmm. So there are three major Druze communities in Syria. One, which is totally against our interference. They have several thousands of warriors who are loyal to the Syrian president. And others, they are looking for our assistance. Yeah. So we entered without understanding probably the complexity. And I hope that we shall be able to look around ourselves. There is a major American interest, a major Turkish interest, and we should try diplomacy as well. Well, some things that we didn't try.
Yeah, well, actually, in the aftermath, the president of Syria, al-Sharaa, said that he is withdrawing his forces from that area, and he does vow to protect the Druze. We'll see what happens. Now let's move on to Israel and Gaza and, drill down into, your concerns when you wrote that letter with your other intelligence, and military colleagues. But I want to first ask you, because there's a big article, behind-the-scenes article written by the New York Times, that essentially the allegation are that he has continued the war, Bibi Netanyahu, in order to keep his coalition together and stay in power. Much of it, as you know, has been reported in the Israeli media. But how do you react to that if you've read it?
Well, I read the article. I think it's a very, very important article, but I didn't see anything new. Most of the Israelis will agree, and in a way, when you see the polls, majority, even among people who voted for Netanyahu, believe that his policy is led, in order to make sure that his coalition will not fall apart. and the interest or the future of Israel, our democracy and our security is not what he cares about. This is the way most Israelis understand this war, and this is why the majority of the Israelis believe that this war should or must end immediately. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, there is a major rift between majority of Israelis and our government. And yes, I totally believe that what was described in this article are many details that prove what most Israelis understand. Yes. This war is a political war. It started, by the way, in the beginning it was a just war. We responded to a massacre. We didn't have any other option. But after 10 months, when most of the military goals were achieved, we have to end this war, to bring back all the hostages, and to start the most important issue, to deal with the day after. Yeah. Because without the day after, without a clear description of the reality, political reality of the day after, we cannot say that we achieved a victory. We achieved a major, unpredictable military achievement, but we did not win this war.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting, because I want to ask you then to why do you think it's continuing, and what do you think, for instance, when we see video, like I think we're going to play it now, but, you know, these military shooting at Palestinians who are clearly hungry and starving and trying to come, you know, to get food. Every day there's dozens of Palestinians, men, women and children who are killed by those Gaza humanitarian areas, and we have these pictures. As a former general in the IDF, what do these images say to you? I mean, soldiers who are kind of like the ones you used to command are doing this stuff right now.
Well, first of all, former admiral, not general, but yes, I'll give you an answer. I cannot justify, I cannot defend what we are doing in Gaza. And in a way, we said it several months ago when we, publicly said exactly that we cannot justify this war because what we are doing in Gaza is something that nobody can justify. And especially, and this is why it is so important, it came to my understanding 5 days after the 7th of October. Because 5 days after the war, the war cabinet was created when Benny Gantz and Gary Eisenkot joined to Netnyahu in order to, create a different type of government and to win this war. But they decided after probably 2 or 3 hours not to touch and not to deal with the most important issue, the day after. Mm-hmm. Because it was clear to them that once they will touch or will try to discuss the day after, the coalition will fall apart. Mm-hmm. Because this coalition that Netanyahu created when he was elected 2 years ago is formed by people who really dream not only to conquer the West Bank and Gaza, but to go back to build settlements in Gaza and to annex most areas in the West Bank. So, which is totally unacceptable by most Israelis and by the international community. So this government will not survive once this debate, which is a totally Israeli debate, but it will shape the region and it will create a major impact on the international community. Mm. So if you ask me, this is a time for us to not to postpone anything and to end the war and to start the negotiation or the Israeli debate on the day after.